actually been in San Francisco several days. All right, my mic is not working out for me. Welcome back to Oracle Dev Live. Heather VanCura, we're doing an interview with JCP spec leads. Exciting topic for me. I love the spec leads. They do such a great job for the JCP and the Java community overall. And largely unrewarded job at times, but I think one of the great times we have at JavaOne is to acknowledge the efforts of spec leads, right? And especially this year at JavaOne, we've got 2 major Java releases coming out. Java EE8 as well as Java SE9. And today we've got 3 Java EE spec leads here with us on the stage. Thanks for joining us. Why don't I just ask each of you to introduce yourself, who you are, who you work for, and what JSRs you've been leading. To start us off. You want to start, Antoine?
Okay. So I'm Antoine Sabot-Durand. I'm working for Red Hat, and I've been the CDI 2 spec lead. That was released in the spring. And that's it.
All right, cool. Linda?
I'm Linda DeMichel.
I think it's on.
It's on, just got to get a little closer.
I work for Oracle.
Yeah.
I'm one of the specification leads for the Java EE8 platform JSR.
Hi, I'm Ed Burns, and I was a spec lead for JSF and Servlet, and participated in lots of other JSRs. I consider myself like a JCP lifer. I'm with it, and I've always enjoyed doing it, and I believe it's an incredibly successful way to evolve the Java platform.
Right, I agree. I appreciate all of you. I think you're all excellent spec leads, and actually, as I mentioned, JavaOne's a great time to highlight and recognize the work of spec leads and the JSRs that are being recognized. And Antoine, last night at the JCP party, was actually recognized with the annual JCP Outstanding Spec Lead Award for 2017. Congratulations on that.
Means a lot for me.
Yeah. Well, I think you've been one of the leaders in terms of being open and transparent and really bringing in the community participation. Maybe you want to highlight some of the efforts in CDI 2 expert group in particular that was helpful in terms of bringing the JSR to completion.
Yeah. In fact, we try to be the more inclusive possible. to accept comment from the community. So it gave us a lot of work, but it gave us also some good insight from users that probably would not have come to the spec in a more formal way. I think we can also be proud of our openness on the TCK, which is one of the first that is open source. And the link that we built between the TCK and the spec document to help people to learn the specification by the test.
Right.
That's a nice feature.
Yeah, that's nice. And Ed as well. I think Ed with JSF spec, I know you've led more than the JSF spec. You're doing Servlet as well this time, but some of the work that you've done with the JSF expert group and working with the community has also been one of the trailblazers and examples for other spec leads to follow. You want to share a little bit about that?
Sure, but I want to also start out with the technical level and say that the CDI spec, the Bean validation spec, and the JSF spec have a long history of being close together. When we did JSF 2.0, we added support for Bean validation, and Bean validation is also used in CDI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to give a special shout out to Gunnar Morling, who did a great job with that spec and his expert group as well. But the web tier and unifying around CDI, that's one of the themes we had in JSF 2.3, which is a part of Java EE8. We made CEI the official model solution because we had our own thing called Managed Beans, which was a simpler solution that didn't use dynamic proxying. Some people still liked it for its simplicity, but it doesn't take you as far. It doesn't have producers and all the great stuff they have in CDI. So for Java EE8, we actually did deprecate the JSF Managed Beans, and to do that, we had to introduce more broad-based CDI support. So the JSF spec for Java EE8 has a very good level of CDI support in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say that since its start with CDI 1.0, CDI has been a great aid in simplifying the platform and has been a great framework for integration with our other JSRs. So we've tried to leverage it as much as possible to support ease of development. But I also want to give a good shout out about Antoine's work in leading the CDI expert group. As platform spec lead, part of my job is to monitor what goes on in other expert groups. And I have to say I was very, very impressed with the degree of transparency that you fostered, the amount of traffic on the mailing list, both from expert group members and from members of the community, for all the interaction that you've had in Hangouts and so on. I think it was truly a great job. Yeah. So congratulations, that was well deserved.
Yeah, kudos to you on that.
Oh, yeah.
And also, and speaking of, shout outs to the community. So also last night at the JCP party, we had the most significant JSR award. And again, a Java E8 spec was awarded that. It was actually the security API. So we don't have the spec lead for that one here today, but Linda, do you want to share a little bit about the significance of the security API?
Yeah, so this one took a little bit to get off the ground, but I have to say, our spec lead did a great job. Argent Times, who kicked in as an expert group member and helped write some of the specification. Okay. I think the collaborative work in this expert group and the amount of progress they were able to make in a short period of time was really impressive. And I think of all the new JSRs, the several new JSRs that we launched, that this was certainly well deserving of an award. So again, congratulations to JSR 375.
Right.
Great job.
Yeah, I was happy to see that recognition. And Ed, you were nominated as well.
I
think even being nominated is significant,
well,
right? Being recognized.
I did win many years ago in the Sundays.
JCP award winner.
Lead, yeah.
So maybe you should show everybody. If people haven't been to JavaOne, they don't know about the ribbons that we have for the JCP. Did you show those ribbons there?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So what do you have there? You have Star Spec Lead.
That's the one I'm most proud of because, it had a nice trophy and it had a trophy. It comes with. It's a real thing. This is a real community with real people in it, and one of the things that I have to say that JCP has given to me in my life is the ability to feel like I'm working on something that other people are building on and developing prosperity from. And it's, a real important thing. Like, people have built companies around the stuff that we've done. And they're feeding families, they're making lives, and that's a real thing. When you move into the cloud, where the motivation is cutting cost and reducing headcount, it's not the same satisfaction. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So what I've got from JCP is a sense of reward, like, okay, I'm making things better rather than accelerating the race to the bottom.
Okay. Oh, that's nice to share. Anything you want to share with us, Linda? I, of course, appreciate that. Obviously, clearly, I've built my career working with the Java developer community going on 17 years now. So they must be doing something good for me in terms of motivating me and making it feel like, we can make a difference in terms of changing the future. So definitely.
I guess I'm another lifer, so I would support that. Oh yeah, since the very beginning of the JCP, way back when.
How about you, Antoine? What's it meant for your career to be involved with the community and working on Java?
It's something that makes you share things, have feedback, and have usually good feedback, sometimes bad, but it's very rewarding to have people coming back to you and saying, "Oh, thank you for what you've done. I use your stuff every day, and it's great." And that's the best reward we can have. Feedback from the community. Yeah.
I think in any feedback's good. I think the bad feedback that you might perceive as negative is actually a growth opportunity, right? So I know that it's enabled me to be able to take more feedback in and learn how to, process it and how to turn it in the direction that will be positive for growth moving forward and resolving differences that there will always exist within the community.
We
so
had to
that's
do
an
that.
important skill for anybody, but particularly these days for developers, because increasingly you're working with people in different parts of the world, you're working with people in different companies. I mean, the whole mode of development has changed from closed to open and to more collaboration. So all of these skills are going to help you as you grow your career as a developer.
So I think the feedback thing is, haters going to hate, right? So as the spec lead for JSF, we have been quite a punching bag. And also EJB has gotten some of that too. And
Big growth opportunities
We've
for
taken
you.
the lessons and we've applied it, and everyone's like, oh yeah, 2.0 is much better. And EJB has even gotten better over the years.
Yeah, I would say that one of the exercises I went through when we were launching EJB 3.0, which was the great simplification of EJB, was to actually go through and read all the criticisms that I could find of EJB, all the counter examples, all the nasty things that had been said and published about us, and it was a good learning experience, because if you look at that objectively, then you can say, well, what's the truth here and what do we really need to address? So yeah, you're right, Ed, that's true.
All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to add about negative feedback. In fact, the few features that we added to CDI to come from negative feedback, and one of the achievements I was most proud of is having someone sounding something a bit nasty or a bit aggressive, and start the discussion and make the people create a ticket for the feature and complete the feature. And go back to Guy and say, okay, we listen to you. Look, this feature will be included in next release.
It's a great feeling. I did the same thing a few times with JSF, and it's good to be able to do.
Yeah, I think that's the whole idea, right? So we want the developer community to share their feedback. We have the JCP and the mechanisms put in place in order to enable that community transparency, participation, feedback. So we really do want to encourage more of that, even if it's not going to be positive feedback, to share feedback of how you're using the technology and what we can do to improve it. So I really appreciate hearing from you spec leads today. Thanks for making your time. I know that during JavaOne, you're so busy, so many things, so many people want to talk to you, but thanks for sharing some of your perspectives with us here today. Enjoy the rest of your JavaOne.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.
You're
thanks
welcome.
a lot.
Always a pleasure.